Why do we read? This is a question that's been talked about a lot, and the answers are almost always positive, but honestly, it wasn't until the past 2 years that I really got why reading is so important. It might sound a little bit cliche, but this realization has really changed my life. So I want to share how my understanding of reading has evolved and why I think it's so powerful. There's this quote I came across. The essence of reading is being confused and knowing you're confused. And wow, that really hit me this year when I officially transitioned from being a student to stepping into the working world. The whole quarter-life crisis thing, yeah, it's real. Moving to a new city, living alone for the first time, figuring out how to navigate office politics, it's a lot. My brain constantly spirals into random thoughts, jumping from one idea to another without any clear reason. And because there's no clear reason, there's no clear way to solve it. I'd get caught up asking questions like, what's the purpose of my life? Which, let's be honest, is a heavy one. And the frustration comes from my thoughts being way ahead of my abilities. I've got so many questions, but no answers. In school, when we had questions, someone would answer them for us. But in the real world, nobody's gonna swoop in and save you from an existential crisis. That's when I realized reading is like self-guided learning. It's one of the best ways to figure out those confusing, unanswered questions swirling around in your head. I know what some of you guys might be thinking. Why bother reading when there are so many faster ways to learn stuff nowadays? There are videos, summaries, podcasts. People already break down complex topics for you. Why not just go for the shortcuts? And yeah, I get it. There are so many amazing creators out there doing this work, but I see those shortcuts as the starting point, not the end goal. They're great for sparking interest, but if you really want to understand something deeply, you've got to go through the process yourself. Why? Because the easier it is to absorb information, the harder it is to actually remember or use it. Content creators are amazing at making things simple, using fun examples or visuals to explain concepts. But the downside is that it's so easy. You don't even have to think for yourself. You just passively consume. And when you do that, what you're gaining isn't really knowledge. It's just information. Real knowledge only comes when you put in effort to think, reflect, and truly understand what you're reading. It's about adding your own interpretation, stamping it with your personal understanding. That's when it starts to influence your thinking and actions. Otherwise, it's like skimming the surface. You see the words, but you miss the meaning behind them. Take classic books, for example. If you boil their stories down to one-sentence summaries, sure, you know the basic plot, but will you really get anything from that? The best books are the ones you can read over and over again, and every time they feel new because they grow with you. They're always a little ahead of where you are in life, challenging you to catch up. That's why I think reading is so important, but let's not just glorify the idea of reading for the sake of it. To truly grow, we need to be active readers. Passive reading is not different from watching short videos. It's effortless and you don't get much out of it. Reading should be like playing catch. The author throws their ideas your way and it's your job to catch them. If you miss it, all you can say is, oh, I saw the ball fly by, which is the same as saying, yeah, I've read a book once. I learned this the hard way back in college when I got caught up in what I call performance reading. I cared more about how many books I could finish or how much time I spent reading rather than actually understanding what I was reading. I'd rush through books just to tick them off a list. I wasn't thinking, what does this mean? I was thinking, how fast can I get through this? In the end, I didn't feel like I learned anything and it left me feeling frustrated and discouraged. Looking back, I realized I was just feeding my ego. Tracking how many books you've read is meaningless if you're not truly engaging with them. Not all books are created equal. Some deserve a quick skim, while others need to be savored and revisited. And that's when I stopped focusing on the quantity of books and started caring about the quality of my reading. The beauty of reading is that it helps you understand yourself better. Sometimes you have this nagging feeling about something, but you can't quite put it into words. Then you stumble upon a book where the author just gets it. They articulate exactly what you've been struggling to express, and suddenly it all makes sense. For example, I used to wonder why I'd hold back from giving my all to the things I wanted most. I realized I was scared. What if I fail even after trying my best? It wasn't until I read the book, The Moon Over the Mountain, and came across this quote. I was afraid that I might not be a beautiful gem, so I didn't dare to polish myself with hard work. Yet I half believed I was, so I refused to settle among ordinary stones. In the end, I became trapped by my own self-doubt. I remember reading that and feeling like the author was looking straight into my soul. It was so raw, so honest. It helped me understand my own fears in a way I couldn't before. That moment of being seen by a book, it's the most incredible feeling. Now my reading habits have leveled up. I don't just passively stumble through books anymore. I actively seek out answers to my questions. It's like being the host of a roundtable discussion, inviting authors from all over the world across different fields and eras to join in. You're in charge of the conversation, throwing out your questions and guiding the discussion. It's an exploration, and by the end, you almost always walk away with some clarity. Reading has generally saved me during a really tough time when I felt overwhelmed by loneliness and stress. I picked up a book by 𝐒𝐨𝐜𝐿𝐚. Her writing transported me to the wide open grasslands of Xinjiang and introduced me to the warmth of nomadic life. It was like she reached into the darkness I was stuck in and pulled me out. That experience reminded me of how beautiful life can be, even in its toughest moments. So yeah, I hope you give reading a shot. It's not just about learning. It's about finding a safe haven, a way to feel connected and understood. And honestly, that's the kind of magic we all need in life.